5.
Okay. I get Jim's stuff.
Okay, this is pay.
I don't have my glasses, but I have Jim's stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
where's mine? Yeah.
I don't know if that works that way.
It works.
Jesus, Gino, you're making me feel old. They work.
I only use it for reading, man. My eyes are just as good as yours.
That's what's bothering me, Gino.
This is for reading, it's good.
All right. I have them. I have Jim's notes on
Good.
47 Foster, Yangtze River, 78 Edsel, 3 Washington,
What did he say about
410
the-
Newtown,
What about the 3 Washington?
30 Still. Which one are we doing first?
Oh,
Well, nothing right now.
47 Foster.
All right, when we get to that, I've got Jim's
All right.
comments.
You got anything administrative, Gino?
All right, I don't know, I'm looking for it. Okay, administrative, well, I signed a bill. And I don't know if I have anything else here, administrative. There's only, I don't think I have any. All right. Variance. Another variance. Another variance. Right, let's see, my friend, I don't have anything administrative.
I
But,
got a board
Yeah, but-
member report,
let me see.
nothing of any consequence, just general knowledge.
Well, 7 o'clock is board member report. Anybody has a report for any member?
Peter said he did. I've got something.
Go ahead.
As I was saying, I was in Eugene, Oregon, this involves
Yeah.
composting,
Yeah,
and they have in the city limits, they have a big area where everybody brings their leaves, and
Yeah.
then they move them to another portion of the city,
Yeah.
and they compost them. Apparently, no one complains or anything, so it's interesting to see one in operation where everybody is in agreement about it.
Well, I got one in Northborough, and it's every state agency, every neighbor, and half a dozen politicians are
Oh,
involved
gee.
in it.
no
Is
problem.
that leaves too?
Leaves and a little bit of food waste. It
That
happens
was
to be
in
my
the-
bosses.
That was actually in the paper.
Yeah, it
Not
was in
long ago,
the
the week or-
Worcester Telegram
Yeah,
front
yeah,
page, yeah.
yep,
It
couple of
happens
weeks
to be the
ago.
president of my organization
Oh,
who
okay.
runs it, so. Very similar. Complaints, they're having trouble confirming them. And this one's an ag composter, so he's got
Right.
some different exemptions. But the neighbors aren't happy. And
Smell? Is it smell? or-
they're complaining about odors, they're worried about wells, and it's hard to tell. I mean, it's very similar to what we started when we did, Halloran's, where we had trouble confirming a smell. I've tried to tell them, you need to look around the neighborhood, because I know I'd sit in the middle of Halloran's and wouldn't smell anything, but I go to the neighbors, and it was pretty discernible. So, but we got a state legislator talking about legislative change, we've got the Department of Ag Resources making regulatory changes, so, yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, I thought the differences were a little bit different in this because it was food.
Food, yeah.
Yeah, but the food, there's not that much food, and this guy manages it really well, and, it's nitrogen in general, so the
Right.
food is kind of equivalent to the,
Okay.
basically the grass clipping.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, but, I don't know, and it's hard to tell because it used to be a cornfield, which is a lot more picturesque.
Is it a 61A? Are they on 61A?
Yeah, that doesn't really play into it, but he's actually APR, he's protected, so he doesn't need to be in 61A. But he meets 48.3, which is a zoning exemption for agriculture, and that's what gets him out from under it, so.
Anything else, Peter?
No, that's, just sorry I missed the meeting.
Okay, there,
I've got something, Gino.
go ahead.
So I saw that Phyllis went out, we had a complaint about roosters and chickens.
I
Phyllis-
talked to her too.
Phyllis went out, I'm not sure she got a clear message on what we were looking for. I saw her email back, it wasn't clear she went into the basement. I'm kind of of the opinion this is a civil matter anyway. I didn't see anything, there was a health issue. Phyllis went and said the chickens didn't crow, just because they didn't crow when she wasn't there doesn't mean they're not a problem. But my personal feeling, this is a civil matter. I haven't seen anything that would suggest there's a public health risk.
Well, I thought the direction that everybody was kind of heading by reading some of her stuff was that they were going to talk to the condo manager there.
Yeah, I mean, my sense from when the neighbors were in is what they were most upset about was the roosters, and the rest was kind of stuff they're adding on.
Yeah.
Not that they weren't legitimate concerns, but they
Right.
weren't their primary concerns. And I didn't hear anything back that they were gonna look to deal with the roosters.
Yeah, and I think we told them to go talk to the, she's the animal control
Right,
officer,
and
right?
Gino and I were supposed to go with her. I don't think she got that message. She went out on her own, and
Yeah.
I don't think she wasn't privy to the full conversation, so I'm not sure she looked at everything that she had the benefit of hearing what we heard would have done. But the roosters, I think, is the primary issue, and I didn't, from Phyllis's email, it didn't seem like that's being addressed.
Well, and again, I mean, it could be different, but it's my understanding there's pretty lax ordinances in Littleton about
There is
pet
no,
noises.
there is a no on
Basically,
chickens.
yeah, so basically it's, light. If it's light out, they can make the noises they want. There's not much you can do
Well,
about it.
they'll do it when it's dark, but
Well, yeah, no, I know that, but I'm just saying.
I still think this is mainly a civil issue.
Right, right, exactly.
I mean, we don't get into yappy dogs. I'm not sure we should get into crowing roosters.
Well, there's a language barrier there too, from what I understand.
Yeah, but I guess she went over to, I guess Phyllis works in Boxborough, and she went over and talked to her, but,
Okay.
I think, my sense from the neighbor, at least the one gentleman who was here, is they got rid of the roosters. That would probably solve most of their issues. Phyllis is gonna work with them on some of the fencing issues. They claim the neighbors were pushing in the fence. I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me, but honestly, nobody's getting sick or likely to get sick. They might be annoyed. I think it's a civil issue, not a Board of Health issue, is my feeling.
Yeah, I agree with that at this point.
But we should make that be known to the neighbors so they can follow through appropriately.
That's all. We're trying to do as much as we can, but
And we can't do everything for everybody.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, how are you, Peter?
I think we're gonna
Yeah.
skip the minutes because we don't have the minutes, okay?
We can officially skip.
Well, the only other thing to mention, has to do with my day job, but on this Public Health Agriculture Task Force. You guys okay?
Kitty? Yeah.
Carol,
Sorry.
you get a meeting. It's okay. We have this Public Health Ag Task Force, who've been doing a lot of issues. Some of it has to deal with roosters like this. So one of the problems we've had from my organization's perspective is a lot of regulations which impact negatively on ag coming from the boards of health. I've had some really bad livestock regulations, some bad farmers market regulations. So I did get Mass Association of Health Boards, Farm Bureau, and the Mass Public Health Association to agree on legislation where there's an AgCom. The AgCom would get 30 days to review any Board of Health regulations, which would then, they could do a public meeting on and then make recommendations back to the Board of Health. Not really an issue here since more than half of our Board of Health is already on the AgCom, but in other towns it's been an issue where we have Board of Health folks who don't know a lot about what they're regulating. So
Anything else?
that's it.
All right. What do you
We have
got?
a few minutes, so, not the last meeting, because we didn't have one, but the meeting prior to that, the last meeting in November, I think the actions was a couple of people going out to Halloran's to see what the progress was.
Right,
Did
right.
that happen? And has he followed up? I know I
did-
sent an
he did-
email to
he-
Shelley and asked if there was any communication, and she never even
He did come,
responded to
he
that.
did come.
Oh, I think he missed the meeting,
Yeah, you
that
did come in.
Halloran came in.
Yeah.
No, I was here
Was
I
it?
was
Yeah.
here at the last meeting we
No.
had.
Yeah, we had talked about
22nd.
him doing a written report, which
But
I'm not
he's
sure we
never
have.
provided a written report, but at that meeting on November 22nd, they said, well, why don't we, go out and do a site visit? He was on board with that,
Yeah.
and I'm just wondering if there was any follow-up if that happened.
Because I
according to
was
Shelley-
out
according to-
prior to that meeting to see what he was talking about, the piles and
Right,
all
okay.
that, so.
Okay,
And also the report is at the end of the December, which would be 31st.
okay, well, he was supposed to provide monthly reports, and he never
No,
has.
I know, but that's what the next report
Okay,
is supposed to be.
Okay,
So if we are going to do a site visit, I'd like to do it before we have 6 feet of snow on the ground.
yeah, right.
You might have to wait till the end of January. It's supposed to be good weather for 2 weeks.
That's okay with me.
Fine.
I heard a weekend storm, so.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
Nope.
You
Nope,
guys?
that was it.
Okay,
Just a question I had.
7:15, we have a hearing. 47 Foster, here he is.
What, you make an entrance now?
You're 3 minutes early.
Okay. You can sit in the front. You can.
Go right there.
You want me to read this?
No, for you.
Oh, okay.
Just read the word.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Oh, we got this side too.
Anyway, on the chicken thing, should we get basically Shelley to reach out to him and say, look, it doesn't appear to be a public issue.
I think that'd be a good idea, yeah.
Public health issue. So you'll let her
I
know
can
that.
come tomorrow morning, let her know.
Someone's got chickens.
Neighbors got roosters and chickens, and
Other neighbors.
Roosters can be noisy.
I've got two, but no neighbors really, till they wander into Fay Park. But the foxes are doing a good job taking care of them.
Coyotes will too.
What's that?
Coyotes will too.
Yeah, I haven't had a problem with them, just hawks and foxes.
I was gonna say my sister's chickens all got grabbed by hawks.
Circle of life. Way to teach kids.
Yeah, could they eat the ones that don't lay eggs? All right, Gino, I think your coach should open.
Be nice. Yeah, I got it. I'm waiting for him to start.
You all set?
Wait for me?
Yeah, 7:15.
Oh, okay.
can
I thought
open.
you had to read a public announcement or something like that. So for the record, my name is Ted Doucette of Doucette Engineering, here representing Jack Griffin, who is preparing to sell his house in a couple of days, and we have a septic system design that needed a couple variances. If you recall, we were in here a few months ago and we talked about this property because it's on record as, it had a 4-bedroom system designed for it, and it had, but it's a 6-bedroom house, so it didn't pass Title V because of a capacity issue. At that time, if you'll remember, you agreed that based on anecdotal and historical information that the property is a 6-bedroom. So that's what we designed for. We looked at 3 different areas to design it, and we came up with one that we thought was going to be the most efficient as far as cost and size and impact on the property. But because of the location, it's squeezed between a barn and a property line. We have to have a few variances for that. And the one that we're here for officially tonight is because of the fill to a property line. This is more of a trigger, I feel, that it requires a hearing because it does actually have fill within the property line, but it's not the reason that you have the regulation that there is going to be no impact on the neighbors. The amount of fill at the highest point is about 1.5 feet at the far end, and it's about 6 inches to a foot at the upper end.
Ted, do you have any other copies of that? Or-
No, I just have one.
And would you also
Never mind.
give the address, because...
Oh, sorry.
Let me-
47 Foster Street.
Jim had some comments too, I don't know if you've seen those, so. it's-
No, I have an idea. We talked about this property, but the reason we're here is, if you look at the layout right now, we have Foster Street up here, we have the house here, and there's an existing tank, and in this area here, the yard.
I'm the abutting neighbor, could I?
Sure, come on up.
Yeah.
Let him finish, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Mike, Ted Doucette.
They can say-
I assume is my, yeah.
You can sit down or stand, whatever you want to do.
Right on in.
So there's a garage here, and the existing system is down here underneath some pavement, and then refer to this as the barn, which has no water service in it. And we're going to replace the existing system up here, and it's going to flow down. We have some cleanouts. We're going to put the tank up here. The proposed tank is up here, and they're going to flow down here and come into a distribution box here.
Okay.
We looked at going up into here, but the impact was that this grade would have to come up, and the system was big that we would have needed similar variances, and that this area would have become inusable for traffic, and is currently used. You can see it's all paved in this area now. We considered coming down here, but what happens is the pipe gets so low in the ground, because it has to be covered, and the groundwater is so much higher down here, that you then go into a pump system.
So Ted, just so we can put this in context, and I'm saying I agree with them, but we need to hear Jim's comments. I'm not sure everybody here has seen them. So
Okay.
if I'm
I
going to
thought
read
you
it.
had to go
then
through all
maybe-
this first, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, it seems like you're addressing it already without
Okay.
everybody even
Okay.
knowing, so maybe so Gino, is that okay with you?
Yes,
So the sewage disposal system is being replaced to reflect the actual number of bedrooms in the house. The previous repair was for a 4-bedroom house, but the owner of the house states it has been a 2-family house with 6 bedrooms. The- Three, yeah, that's what Jim said, I know it's three-family. You get two rentals, right, Jack? The lot is long and narrow slopes and has a series of structures before the lot levels out and back. The soils are good, but the lot does have an elevated seasonal high water table. The applicant is proposing a replacement system alongside the barn near the end of the lot. The approval of the proposed system would require a number of local upgrade approvals and a local variance. There's an area beyond the barn that would be more appropriate for the installation of the system because it may not need as many local approvals from Title V, nor need a barrier around the system. Since there's a more appropriate location, I can't recommend the approval of the request of the proposed system. So I guess, Ted, to keep you from having to do this twice, if you can maybe compare what Jim's recommending and you are, and I think what we need to do is compare the cost to Jack and the benefits of that versus what Jim wants. So,
Well, Jim and I discuss these things a lot because we have a lot of time out there in soil testing, and he comes at things from a very legal point of view. And, this is what it states, and that's black and white, that's the way he goes. Then there's the practical application, and that's what I deal with because I deal with the people who, not Jack, but the people who are crying at their kitchen table because they can't afford to
and that's
sell
what we
the
have
house.
to weigh in this, we agree.
Right. So, well, the crying you probably don't have to weigh in, but it's the practical application is the cost. Coming in here, we had a contractor look at it and tell us that the other factor in here is that there's a big unknown about the system that you're going to have to, you don't know how much you're going to have to pull out of there to put the new system in. Coming down here, like I said, the groundwater is higher down here, so you'd have to put in an elevated system. That cost more because you have to bring in more fill to bring the system up itself, and then you have to put in the pump chamber and do the related wiring. I usually figure a pump chamber and pump is about $5,000. And, bringing the sand in, maybe another $1,000 for additional sand. Back here, we are filling to the lot line, but we are filling within 10 feet of the lot line, but we are able to provide some drainage swales. There's a rock wall, and the grade does slope slightly away from there. It's not as if there's a slope leading into the neighboring yard. We avoid a pump chamber, and we put in some leaching chambers to make the system actually smaller, so that it can be, and it can also be designed this time of year, installed this time of year because you don't have to buy washed stone. So we're looking for a reduction in the offset between a foundation and the septic system because we're putting the soil absorption system. We're proposing a impervious barrier. I am comfortable with this. I would be comfortable without doing it without an impervious barrier because the soil out there is so good that the water is going to be rapidly absorbed. It also is a bed system, so the main surface for absorption is the bottom surface. You're not requiring and expecting anything to come out the side. And also, it's a barn. There's no living space on the other side. Mm-hmm. It's a slab down here, Jim and I discussed, but because about how, you're coming up a couple feet on this from here to here on fill, it's not really a slab over here, but it is just an open barn garage area. Also requesting the reduction from groundwater offset from 5 feet to 4 feet. This just reduces the amount of fill that they have to be in. We've talked about this many times where, as far as I'm concerned, all the treatment that's going to happen happens within the first 2 feet, and you have another 2 feet of buffer for that. Actually, I do show a reserve area, even though this is required, requesting not to have one shown. And then, like I said, we're requesting to have fill within 10 foot of a lot line.
So what are the DEP variances on that one versus the
There's
one?
no DEP variances.
So it's all.
Well, they're all local upgrade approvals. So they're what's written into Title V to allow you to, the local boards of health to allow for this situation.
Can I ask what DP is?
DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, they have a statewide law, and then we have additional requirements on top of that.
Do you have a question? Do you have a question?
I did, I just
Go
asked.
go ahead.
I just asked what the.
That's it?
Well,
Well,
All right.
so this is Mike McDevitt, and his property is over here, and I've emailed with him a couple times, given him information, and his I think one of them was that, if I can, tell me if I'm wrong, but you may want to put in a pool, and he wants to make sure that what we do here does not prevent that.
Right,
And
right.
where the septic system is 10 feet from the property line, and it's sand, and we're not creating a runoff going into this property, so I don't feel there'll be a problem putting in a pool in the future.
my concern is my side is low.
Yeah.
He has to
right.
be low, you just said it was higher, but it tends to be lower than the other side of the wall, and I'm worried about a raised area.
Well, that's a good concern, yeah.
They go down further though. it becomes much more raised and they're much closer to the wetlands. So that's about the only place they can put it without destroying the use of the barn or garage, and without getting close to the wetlands and doing a huge raised system. But it shouldn't have any impact on your property at all.
But to impact the drainage, there is a swale shown here to direct. I mean, it's subtle, but a contractor knows that there's a swale here, and they have to run water down away from the property.
Any questions from the board?
Well, Jim's big concern was the location of the septic system.
Right.
And I
Well, in
think
short, he thought there was an area that would need as many variances.
it does dip off quite a bit, and like Ted says, it probably would have to be built up. How would you even propose getting in down there, Ted, if you had to go down further, which I don't think you have to?
Well, there's a paved driveway all the way down here, where you see this other perk test and these are deep hole testing where we show the.
Yeah, what was down there?
As far as, it's all just open field, but it's, that would probably come up a couple feet there, versus, a foot and a half here. That could come up 2 or 3 feet. And it's not that hard to build there. It's just the pump chamber and the additional fill.
So it's a cost issue. How much more would it cost you to
About
do it
6,000?
Jim's way?
Well, to move it down there, I would at least 6,000, which is probably, what is that, about 20% of the project.
So we're weighing that against what are the variances you'd need, your proposal versus what Jim wants?
To fill to a property line, offset from groundwater, I would have taken down here as well. So it's fill to a property line and offset from a structure.
The structure.
And that structure doesn't have a basement, right?
Correct.
Any question from you, John?
No questions?
Peter, anything else?
I'm just kind of going over here again in my mind. I don't see a problem. I just want to make sure what I'm,
I mean, I get where Jim's
Looking
coming
at-
from, but
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable to weigh the costs versus the benefits.
we've run into that stuff, like I tell the story about the poor guy that had the septic system down Long Lake, and came in at $74,000.
Yeah.
And we re-looked at it, at a different kind of system and everything, and he got it down to, it was still in the 30s, but it was half the cost, so it does make a difference.
Are you comfortable with this, sir?
So I'm trying to understand the water runoff. You did say there was some kind of, impervious barrier, is that just the straw bales, or is that?
Now, the impervious barrier is part of the system, so that's in the ground, you won't see that. What that is intended to protect is when the water comes out of the system below ground, that it doesn't travel horizontally into the foundation. That's what the impervious barrier is for. So it's for the leachate.
When I saw it on the map,
Yes,
if I
so
looked at it, it showed it on this side, right?
Right.
So how's that gonna, that means it's gonna run this way.
Well, first of all, water runs down. This is a DEP thing. I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of DEP because they make you put this barrier in, and so the leachate doesn't run sideways, but it's not going to run sideways. What this is doing on this side is that's reducing the amount of fill that we have to put in over this side, because there's certain requirements that if we don't have that, you have to fill in 15 feet out. But the other thing about the drainage is, if you can look here, the drainage runs this way. So this end of the whole system is higher than this end. So you're going to have the top of the system
Going
flowing
down.
this way. The only thing that you would have running off the side is going to be over here. And, like I said, there's a little swale that the contractor's going to build in here, and given the natural grade that goes this way also, and given the soil there, that there's going to be no issue. This is not going to create a runoff problem into the neighbor's yard.
Can I put that in layman's terms for you?
I
Oh, you-
understood you.
yeah,
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an engineer too.
I speak fast,
Different
too.
kind.
Sorry.
Yeah. So,
Okay, what you, Brad, do you
Is
you have
the
any
offset
thoughts?
of the bond, is that all set? I mean, is that to the property line?
as far as zoning,
Yes.
I believe so. Yes, because it's only 15 feet. It's
Yeah.
15 feet for a structure. And that was dealt with a couple years ago.
I'm only been there 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have no issue with status quo, and
Yeah.
never had an issue with Jack,
Yeah.
and I just don't want to make sure
His-
my
his current-
backyard is going to get
The sad thing
flooded.
about all this is his current septic system is working perfectly. It's
Yeah, we
just,
talked.
I don't think we need to get into that. We've already, Title V requires that we show a certain flow rate. You don't have it, so here we are, whether we all like it or not. So
What do you think?
I'm pretty comfortable with these. I understand Jim's perspective, but, if we're not going to try to balance things out, there's not much point in having a board. And I
What do
don't
you
see a
think,
lot
John?
of difference between the
Okay
two,
with
other
you?
than cost savings to Jack going this
Peter,
way.
all right?
Yeah,
All right.
I just gotta
Hey,
Are
say,
you
Dale.
comfortable?
Are you comfortable?
Comfortable
You got it,
until
you
my
got it.
backyard gets flooded
No,
in the spring,
no,
yeah, so.
Look, he's been engineer, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, we've talked, he's been
You
very
sure
good
understand?
communicating,
You'll be-
you know.
You probably lived where they have sewage treatment, right?
Was that?
You lived where there was a sewage treatment? You don't have to have no septic system? I don't
Where'd you
even-
live before this?
Do you know what the
Oh, no,
septic
no, I
system
have-
is
I
all
have
about?
septic. Yeah, I do,
Okay, all
I
right.
do.
So you gotta have a little faith, okay?
Yeah. Oh, no, truthfully, I'm less worried about the septic system than the raising and the water
Okay.
runoff.
Yeah. We are all concerned about that.
Come on over, we'll talk about it. You know,
Entertain a
it's still
motion?
there. Come on over, you know.
Yeah.
what's that?
I'm entertaining a motion?
And the swale
Yeah.
should basically address some of that as well, right?
What's that?
The swale should address
See if
some
we
of
can
those
do this.
concerns as well, so.
Rob Rad is going to be installing the system, and he's about as reputable as they get, and
So,
especially with finished
you
detail.
see the guy working there yesterday?
Yeah.
He gave my wife, chased my wife off, harassed her pretty badly, so.
Well, I talked to Rob. I don't want to say anything bad about anybody. There's two sides to every story from what I got a different story from Rob. too.
And we have nothing to say
Yeah.
about either of
Yeah.
them, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like
So
to
I
make
guess
a
I
motion.
stay home tomorrow because of this, because of what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but he's making a motion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion in regards to 47 Foster Street with the drawing of, where's your date here?
It's revision date is 16 December.
I don't see it on here.
It's under revision 2.
He's
The
got-
actual date is
I see
27 October.
revisions, but
It's at the end of that number 2 there. Can you see it? It's all smaller print,
What?
Peter.
Why don't you give him
Do you have the
your,
most recent plan?
I don't think so, that's what
Oh.
I'm
why
saying.
don't you give him this one?
There you go.
Next time, make sure you got some for everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm still looking, Ted, I'm not sure.
Revisions, Peter.
On the bottom.
Well, this is, it does, oh, here's the date right here. Yeah, this one didn't have it at all. Okay, let me try this again. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the variances, which I will list very shortly, for 47 Foster Street, and in regards to the drawings of December 16th, 2016. The first variances is CMR 15212, offset from 5 feet to 4 feet. 15248, the request the elimination of a reserve area due to the fact there's no room. 15.211, reduction in the distance between the foundation and the foundation being the foundation of the barn, and a soil absorption system for 20 feet to not less than 10 feet and used with impervious barrier. And the fourth one, Littleton Board of Health Regulations 23, retaining walls and filter property line. Filled for the grading of the property will require fill within 10 feet of the property line. What is, they actually, what are you doing, 7 feet?
It's about 7 feet.
About 7 feet? Okay, that's about it.
Any second?
I second the motions as read.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You have a good night.
Thank, oh, for the record. Notification mailings.
Ted, do you want, we got the permit here.
Yeah. You want to sign it?
I hadn't signed it
Just over here for Shelley.
because of,
Yeah, yeah.
Sign permits.
You know what? I forgot to sign
John and I signed
Which
it.
one?
all of them. I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys gotta sign it down there.
Yeah, right.
Jack, have a good one.
Take it easy.
How the kids?
Oh, they're doing well.
You driving to school?
Yeah, it's only a couple miles now, so.
Oh, did you get that tonight or no?
You get this tonight? For the boss, see Tom.
I don't know which ones you come over.
47 Foster, which one you get? Which
Are
color?
you giving us a copy here?
I have, I emailed it to Shelley.
Ted, which color do you get?
It's locked up in there, so we can't see what's here.
Okay.
Make sure that the one you gave is
Trying
gonna
to figure
stamp.
out.
Okay?
I know the orange ones are usually in the file.
Is it signed for by everybody? I don't think I signed it.
We'll come get it tomorrow,
All
just
right,
we
thanks,
don't want to
Mike.
stretch it.
All right, thank you. Over there, you got it
All right,
tomorrow.
we have long notes from Jim on Yangtze, so
I
we
know,
should
I
go
know.
through those at some point.
I noticed.
He was upset at the work he was doing. He was old and trying to get work done, and he got off.
She's got a loud voice like me, so what are you gonna do?
You gotta use it, don't you?
Well, we can ask her to go take the discussion
Get the answer, you have
downstairs.
a discussion,
Don't tell him, will you?
Gino?
Don't get her mad, she's gonna take the candy out.
You got a discussion at 7:30, Yangtze River.
Right. We're gonna discuss right now.
Take care, Cheryl.
And Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Hey,
Do we have,
Would you mind-
are we all signed off so
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
can go tomorrow?
Bye.
Okay,
you'll have to ask Sherry where our candy is.
it's right there.
Oh, shit.
I hit it because I
brought
don't
it
like
for
this
you.
whole thing, we can keep it.
Oh, God.
Get out of here before you...
I'm ready.
All right, we open for discussion, 7:30, Yankee?
That's us, but if you don't mind, I think you have 2 items at 7:30?
You do?
You do.
No, it's.
Yep, we've got 78 Edsel and we've got
Oh, yeah.
Yangtze, which,
You want it?
I'd like you to do the 78 Edsel, because
Okay.
a friend of mine, and he needs to get going.
Okay, no problem. Yeah?
that's okay, I don't want to disturb the board, it's really your decision.
Nope, that works.
Wow.
Okay.
They're
I didn't
nice
even see
people,
we
huh?
had two.
Somebody has to go
7:30.
first.
Don't forget to go to their restaurant, it's a very good restaurant.
Yes, I'm very fond of that.
Okay, I open the meeting of hearing 78, Hetzel's Road, am I correct?
Yes,
Septic system variance, right?
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll introduce myself. My name is Mike Demotic. I'm representing Tom Howes and his wife, Wendy Maxfield.
And
Thomas.
what is his wife? You say his wife. She's not here, right?
She's holding down the fort.
Okay, she holding the fort. Okay.
He's out digging.
Saving money, right?
Right.
All right, go ahead.
Their proposal is to replace an existing failed septic system.
Okay,
Their parcel currently consists of a 10,000 square foot lot improved by a 3-bedroom dwelling.
okay,
The project does not propose any increase or change to the usage of the property, no added bedrooms, no square footage.
okay,
Basically, it's a replacement of an existing failed system, which is in the rear of the property. We went out in September of this year, Jim and myself, we did soil evaluations in 3 locations as shown on the plan, Tesla 1, 2, and 3.
yeah,
We found a range of fill on the top layer from 26 to 30 inches, and then a B layer that extended roughly 42 to 46 inches in the ground, and then a C parent material that was 42 to 120 inches was our greatest depth. We didn't have any refusal. We did find a very tight till material
okay,
where we had soil models
Thanks,
ranging
yeah.
from 34 inches to actually a depth of 42 inches. So what Jim and I discussed a couple of options. I looked at siting the system in the front of the property.
You don't happen to have a second drawing there, do you?
I don't think I do, I'm sorry. I emailed over to,
Yeah, see, we had a little
you have a 78? I don't think.
miscommunication and our room was locked
I've got
up.
Jim's
so-
notes.
okay, let me just see if
Usually it's pretty high groundwater.
It's very high, yeah. So like I said, the models were at 34 inches and 36 inches were the 2 shallowest.
Oh, okay.
The deepest was 42 inches.
Get that here, Yangtze.
You got it?
I
Nope, this is-
don't have another one.
You need another copy of the plan?
Yeah, do you know?
I just happen to have one.
Were you working together?
Yeah, that's my problem.
How's that, huh?
Yeah, we'll even give it back to you.
So we did test in 3 locations. We tested the front yard, the rear of the property, and then one kind of in between, just to give the homeowner an option of what, we kind of understood that it was gonna be slow,
You
perforated,
said
high
so.
water table. We were restricted by the size of the lot only being 10,000 square feet.
This is Yankee.
We found a perk rate of 16 minutes an inch, which is kind of, I think, better than expected in that neighborhood.
Bitch of life.
So what we proposed is a 25 square leaching bed
Okay,
in the front of the property.
yeah. How much room you got in front? You got enough room?
Yeah, so we're here actually for 4 variances. 2
Okay.
are local upgrade approvals from Title V, and 2 are local requirements.
Regulation.
Yeah,
Okay.
regulations. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, go ahead.
Okay. The first would be Regulation 23, these are Littleton regulations.
Right.
The placement of an impervious barrier and fill within 10 feet of the lot line.
Okay,
On the,
so how far is it between the,
we would be 5 feet from the lot line.
Driveway on the other side of that line,
Where the
right?
driveway
So
is
it's
shown on the
like
plan.
somebody's basement or something.
Right, yeah, there's no, the second would be the, 23 and 27, I think, are somewhat similar in placement of fill and impervious barrier, so it would be basically placing fill 5 feet within.
Could I
Okay.
interrupt you just a second? Where are your variances listed on your?
right there?
Oh, he's over here, okay.
Yes.
Used to look at them on the right side.
Yeah, usually we have it right. Next time you come, make sure it's
Okay,
right.
okay.
Sorry to
They don't drive
interrupt
like crazies.
I'm sure that's
Okay.
stipulated anywhere, but yeah.
I'll try to conform.
Yeah,
Uh,
you knew.
I'm new, yeah.
We'll forgive
I
you.
was gonna say, this is the first time I've been in front of the
Good.
Littleton Board of Health, and
And we are very
Yeah.
tough board, you know,
That's what I
very.
hear.
Yeah, don't break no chocolate next time.
no,
No,
chocolate's not good to the hips.
no, right.
So then, the second was the replacement of fill within the 10 feet of the lot line. The local upgrade approvals are 15405. One would be the reduction of groundwater offset from 4 feet to 3 feet. We have a
Okay.
perk rate of 16 minutes an inch, so.
Yes,
in that range. And the second would be the reduction in setback for the soil absorption system to the full foundation,
right,
which would be, in this location, would be 11 feet.
okay,
And we propose to put an impervious barrier
Mhm.
on that side and also an impervious barrier on the other side for.
okay.
Okay. Generally, here's what Jim had to say. The
Go ahead.
system on this lot is in failure and it needs to be repaired. The lot is small, has an elevated seasonal high water table, and the house sits in the middle of it. Based on the site restrictions, the applicant's variance request is designed to help fit the system on the site. The site is served by town water, and I believe the variances would be necessary no matter whether on the site the system is proposed. The design is proposed would allow more grading options to help minimize potential grading issues. So
Okay.
Jim's in support.
Okay. You all done there, Peter?
Yeah, just look, where is the old system? Where was the old?
It's in the back corner, back.
Right there.
so it's approximately-
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right here.
Oh, okay. I thought that was bushes. Okay.
Well, it is, and then if you
Oh,
look up
it's
there, there's a
underneath.
little
Oh, okay.
little note up there.
And then I labeled it.
Okay.
All right. Give us a few more minutes.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the variances. I don't know, did you have anybody else here that was interested?
I don't think anybody approached
Any
us.
neighbors or abutters?
No, I don't think so. Are you the abutter this property, no? All right, you're not related? I'm sure you're not, right? You got the restaurant. You got enough trouble with the restaurant. Okay,
Are we all set?
I
Does
think we are,
anybody have
yes.
any
I think we are.
concerns?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the variances as listed on the blueprint for 78 Edsel Road, on the blueprint dated 10/24/16. That's
With
the
the
da-
the latest revision would be 12/2/16, if you look just above it on the title block.
Oh, yeah, 12/2/16, pardon me, didn't look far enough. And the 4 variances, let's see. Regulation 23, placement of an imperious barrier due to the fact that it's within 20 feet of the property line. Regulation 27, fill placement within 10 feet of the property line. What do you actually, where's the fill going out to?
5 feet.
5 feet? Be 5 feet. Local upgrade approval for reduction of groundwater, offset from 4 feet to 3 feet, and the reduction in setback for the SAS from full foundation from 20 feet to 11 feet.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, hi.
Thanks very much.
No problem. I'll behave next time, okay? Don't give us trouble.
Yeah, we give you leeway the first
Good
day.
day.
Thanks very much.
Have a good day.
Come on up there.
I I don't
extensive
know,
comments
did
on
you
this one.
guys send anything? We don't have access to the room.
I'm surprised I don't have nothing.
You did send her one?
Yes.
So
She
we
sent
have
this
a
last time when we
Yes.
canceled the meeting, she didn't
Well, if we
re-forward
need
them,
one,
so
we'll-
this is
yeah,
from the
you
one we
know where to
unfortunately
go.
had to postpone.
Do we have trouble here with this gentleman? I don't know.
First off, I want to know if you guys, oh, by the way, Jeffrey Brem with Miser Brem Corporation, and with me here is Robin Ong and Wei Jun Ong, from the Yancy River Restaurant.
Okay.
I think I see you have copies of
Yeah,
this.
but we do.
Okay, have you?
The question
I'm
is-
going to kind of go through what this says, so you can verbally be here, ask questions.
Yeah, can they write their own name? Because I'm from Italy, Venice, and I don't, they're
They're listed,
listed there anyway?
the last
Oh, I
two
didn't-
names.
I didn't watch
on
that.
the CC.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Robin Ong and Wei Jun Ong.
This isn't that old a system either.
Thank you.
No, it's not as bad as we may have thought. Now, Mr. Cole, he's not here tonight?
Bill's no longer on the board.
No.
Oh, okay, so Bill was a witness, and obviously Shelley and Jim are involved, and they're not here either, but we'll
Okay.
bring you guys up to speed.
Yep.
So here's a picture of the site aerial. This is the
Yep.
Yancy River Restaurant here,
Yep.
and this is the IBM building.
Right.
I call this, it's 550, it's actually owned by Trans Western,
Okay.
and the Yancy River is owned by these gentlemen, who owned it for 40-plus years, a long time.
Yeah, long time.
So what happened was the restaurant was there before the building and the leaching area, as far as I could tell historically. Now, this is a plan that Wilson did. You may see this plan, you recognize this plan, Peter. This is the restaurant here.
Yep.
And to describe the existing system right now, it goes into a grease trap. This is a fairly new grease trap. They put a 5,000 gallon grease trap in front of a 3,000 gallon grease trap. I'm sorry, 3,000 grease trap in front of a, 5,000. They was at 10,000, so they have 8,000 gallons of grease trap. Then it goes into two septic tanks. This is a 13,000 gallon septic tank and a 10,000 gallon septic tank. The flow is 6,700 gallons a day,
Wow.
the design flow. The actual flow is more like less than 3,000 gallons a day. And they have issues, so we gotta find out what the issues are. Then it goes to a pump chamber,
Mhm.
then off the property, onto the IBM property, into a distribution box. This is critical, because that's where the problem is. And then it goes into two other distribution boxes, and then it goes into a Presby system. The Presby system is essentially two separate systems. Each of them is 7 series of so there's 42 pipes in each. There's 7 systems here and 7 systems here, but each system has 21 pipes. Each system has 3 pipes, 7 times 3 is 21, there's 2 of them. So there's 42 pipes altogether.
They're under the parking lot too,
Under
right?
the parking lot.
Right.
Here's the front of the building. I'm gonna jump to the end so you know where we're going. Only
Yeah.
3 of those pipes are getting flow out of the 42.
Okay, can I answer a question?
Yeah.
When you clean them how long? Every 3 months, every 6 months?
Pumped every month.
You pump every month?
Yeah.
Now, because you have that problem.
Right, so we try to figure out what the problem was. Now, RADA was hired, so Wilson did this work and there was another operator for a while. 2013, 14, they hired RADA, who came in here,
Yes.
and that's when the problem happened. That's when Bill Cole noticed the problem, and there was an email which I copied you saw in here. And somebody saw effluent coming out of that manhole. I presume it's this manhole here. And that manhole is also a problem, which we'll get to. And whether that was effluent or just rainwater, we don't know yet either.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. We started exploring, RADA thought it was a grease trap issue. He had dug holes in 2014 and jetted the system out.
Okay,
That was not a good thing to do. But if there was grease on the fabric,
yes.
all he did is
It's-
sanded it and
right.
made it stick on the
Make it
fabric.
worse, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
really what we do.
Yeah.
So, we had explored possibility of putting in some kind of a grease treatment system here, secondary treatment. Hugely expensive. And I said, we're jumping at a solution, we don't even know what the problem is.
Right, so,
We gotta stop
right,
throwing money after
right.
this.
So you want to
find
make
out
sure you
what
can
the
fix it.
problem is
Right,
first.
right.
So we got everybody involved. We got Presby,
Yeah.
2 guys from Presby. I brought someone from Wastewater Environmental to take samples everywhere to verify
Right.
what we saw. We got RADA out there to dig it. Jim Gareffi was obviously there all morning.
Okay.
Trans Western was there.
Okay,
And we were all there so that we could witness what happened. So we popped all the manholes off. And we dug a couple of pipes, a couple of locations here. So the first thing that Presby immediately saw was that the system didn't show any signs of grease. Now, to you guys, it's gonna be hard to imagine that picture, but look at the sand grains.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah,
the
yeah.
grains of sand,
Yes, yes,
and they're clean as can be,
yes, yes.
clean as can be. Now, they ripped, that's the fabric, and that's the
Yeah.
pipe right there. They ripped that to see if there's anything on the
Underneath,
pipe.
yeah, nothing.
There's no evidence of any problem. This was dry as a bone, this particular one, because it wasn't getting any flow. So we went back and looked.
So the plug was all plugged,
This is
the pipe
big
is
problem
plugged
right
up.
here. There are those 3 distribution boxes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
essentially manhole
All
covers.
clogged up.
Open 'em. Only that pipe is getting it.
Oh, my
There's
God.
7 in here, 1 is
One.
getting it.
Oh.
And before this, only 1 of the 3 that were getting to this were getting it. So
Now, are they getting grease on that one?
God.
Are you getting,
there's not a grease problem. We didn't see
okay,
it.
no,
Look,
that's all, I'm not saying it is, I just was wondering
no,
if you saw any
This is
grease.
just all the flows coming into that one pipe.
Wow.
It's a flow issue,
Yeah.
not related to.
It's an elevation issue.
Yeah,
Now, there were a couple other issues noticed. Number 1, there was a vent issue. They used 4-inch vents, and the vent manifold was a 6x4,
Okay,
and that should be 6-inch vent, or 2 4-inch vents installed.
Okay.
That has to do with how the system treats it.
mhm,
There's also, this manhole was brought to the surface. That's the drain manhole. If you ever wanted to drain the system, everything drains to that manhole. And that's probably where that Bill Cole noticed something coming out of the system. That's getting rainwater in there right now.
I see.
And then we proved that because we did the soil test, we did a test of it. And we questioned whether that was just stormwater or what was in there. It was at a weird elevation. I was like,
Wow.
why is it so high? High water here, we dug a hole 3 feet lower, had
And
no water.
no water.
In a very, very, very dry Presby system, no water,
Wow.
lower than the water in this manhole. So it can't be related.
So it's not coming in from
Sure.
that.
It's not
Hey,
coming from- So we did the water test of that, and it was no coliform or nothing. So we believe that this water that's in this manhole is coming in from the surface, and it had rained the night before. So that,
So the manholes, there's a problem too
what you
then?
witnessed a few years ago may not have been sewage coming out of here. It may have been mostly rainwater. And when the sewage came in, it just pushed the rainwater out.
Oh, I
So
see.
We're guessing at all these problems, and
Hmm.
they turned out to be, I didn't expect this.
But regardless, we know there's a problem with the system in the.
So this
Presby.
is what we recommended, and Presby had their recommendations, and I pretty much followed along with it. So the first thing we did was we sealed off, this system was getting, these 3 lines right here were getting the flow. So we sealed that system off and sent it over to this system.
now,
And that's
they,
what's going
they
right now.
all,
And it works?
based on the original engineering, were they all on the same level and
They're
everything?
supposed to be at the same level.
Supposed to be.
They weren't ever built that way.
Okay, so there was a little bit of installation error.
Maybe it was built and it settled, it's on
You
the
never
parking
know.
lot.
Yeah,
so
yeah, you never know,
anything
yeah,
can happen.
yeah.
It probably was built, Jim tested, he
Yeah.
pressed to put water in it,
Yeah.
and it's all on sand. This sand
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
put these Presbys in is the masonry sand, it's
Right,
very,
right.
very live.
Very, yeah.
You put something on it, you just go like this.
And it moves.
It's not stone dust, it shifts, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I work
So
on
you could see
stuff
what
like
happened,
that.
I think, is that all those D-boxes just shifted, and now all the flow's going in one pipe.
Oh,
And that's
gee.
it. And that's crazy. So we have to fix that. So, but before we did that, we sealed off the system that was not getting any flow and sent all the flow there, rejuvenating the system that was getting flow. They said in 72 hours that it'll be rejuvenated. We've done it now since
Wow.
the 25th of October. So it is completely rejuvenated now.
No
So
kidding.
basically we're gonna-
Wow.
With the old system, all the biomat that
Yeah,
we
yeah,
formed is gone
Gone.
now. And we're ready to, I wanted to talk to you first, but we're ready to put both systems back online. And then they have these equalizers, and if you give me, equalizer, just imagine a circle and then 2 V's coming down.
Yep.
And it allows the flow to build up, so it has to build up in order to get through.
Oh, I see.
And so we want to put
the pipe.
equalizers on all those outlets
I see.
temporarily. That'll help for a while. So rejuvenation first, that's already done. We want to put those equalizers in. Then we want to reconstruct the D-boxes. Fix the manhole, fix the vent. I think that's it. And we want to meet with you to make sure that you're all set with it. And then we got to pick a date, and Jim and I are debating. I say 3 months, April, May. Come back in 3 months or so, and dig it all up again and see what's happening. And then if.
What do we do in May? May is better time and everything.
What's Jim got to say?
All right,
Well,
Jim's got, if you're ready, Gino?
Go ahead, go
Jim's
ahead.
got some long comments, he's probably spoken to you. This is the longest report I've ever had from Jim, so I apologize ahead of time. The Board of Health issued an order for the replacement of the sewage disposal system to the above-mentioned address after it was noted after effluent was noted discharging from the parking lot in 2013. RADA tried to clean the Presby pipe and has been pumping the system regularly since 2014. This office did not witness the work to clean the system, and there have been no reports of discharge since then. At the time of failure, I met with the owner of the property and his engineer to discuss the upgrade options. I explained to him that I would recommend secondary treatment of the wastewater as part of any upgrade. The owners would like to sell the property, and options for correcting the failed system are being investigated. The current engineer proposed an inspection of the system to determine what caused the failure. The inspection determined a number of factors that may be contributing to the failure, and the engineer and representatives from Presby Environmental provide a list of actions that could be taken to address the items. The inspection revealed that not all of the leaching area was in failure. The Presby representatives did note the possibility the corrective actions may not allow for the system to recover. It is difficult to determine how damaged the leaching area is and how effective the rejuvenation process would be. If these recommendations were being proposed to correct the problem for the existing owner, I would not have a problem with the request. If the recommendations didn't work, the owner would need to replace them, but the owner is looking to sell the property, and the records indicate the system is in failure and needs to be replaced. The recommendations by the engineer and Presby representatives may not work, which means the new owner will have to contend with a very costly replacement. Title V prohibits the use of physical, chemical, and biological treatment processes to restore the condition of a soil absorption system that has not been approved by the Department of Use an alternative system pursuant to 310 CMR 15.280 through 15.288. I would not recommend allowing the actions noted in the engineers and Presby's representatives' reports as a mechanism for restoring the current leaching area for sale by the owner. There's too much of the system we are not able to view, and the system has not been receiving normal flows for the past 2 years. The system is being pumped regularly. So in short, I think Jim's okay with what you're proposing, but given that the new owner might get stuck with it, I think that's his concern.
That's
But-
a concern too, so.
yeah, but you are also concerned because you want to make sure that this thing will work.
Right,
So
it's hard to sell
if
it.
you want
Right.
time, that's what you want.
So from my perspective, as long as the new owner, anybody who buys it is appraised of the current
Yeah.
situation,
They know what's
buyer
going on.
beware, as long as there's something that tells them what's going on.
You
And,
understand that, right?
You know,
Sure.
I don't see where we need to get involved in that, as long
Right.
as the new owner realizes he may get
Right.
Let's-
And it might work, you never know.
a proposed fix that may not work, so.
That's why we want to tell you that, because
Yeah.
we want to keep
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
coming
yeah.
in the spring and tell you
Yeah.
where we're at, and then at some point say, okay, this system's ready to be sold
Yeah,
with that caveat.
right,
And the new owner can understand it, they can put some money in escrow and
Right.
and go on with their lives, because they want to,
yeah.
they want to retire.
When are you proposing to list the property?
Well, because we stuck here, we haven't had any plan yet.
Any plan, but you just want to make sure this is settled
Yeah,
first.
we do have a
Right,
potential,
right, yeah.
use part of it,
We understand.
for this.
But I'm glad you came in front of us. You deal with Jimmy and see what they, and they will settle. And let her know to let us know when you're coming
Okay,
back.
so you.
So long as there's open communication with any potential buyer that what they're getting
Question
into.
on
I don't care.
potential buyers, I mean, if this fails, the fix fails, and you have to go in and redo things, you'd only really be doing, because the grease traps are all working,
Yeah.
and all that, everything else is up to snuff, except the actual fields, the leach fields.
Right.
Right,
So that would be what would be replaced, but you already got one that hasn't been being used, really, basically.
Exactly.
Well, we're also on public record, so I think
Yeah.
the state law is such that if they buy it and it's not functioning, and they
Right.
come back and, I'm not accusing you of this, you weren't honest, they would have legal recourse against you. So
Right,
I think the very,
And the bank wouldn't approve.
right, and but the very act of coming and explaining this to us creates a public record, which we're on TV, there's a record of it, you know. I think any buyer has right there
So
potential
what are you,
recourse.
what are you actually asking us? What do you, Just
Nothing-
kind of
Nothing.
like
Are you,
a,
are you okay with the plan that we're
Yeah.
moving forward?
sounds
Yeah.
logical. but-
Yeah,
So I'm okay so long as it's, and I don't know if it's within our realm to request this, but Jim's concern is obviously somebody buys this, gets stuck. You try to fix it, doesn't work, they get stuck with it.
but you are able to fix it, you come in front of us, so that way you have it clean.
We want to prove to you that
Yeah.
we fixed
Yeah,
it. It's-
right.
it's
But I
the
mean, this
appropriate
seems a
time.
reasonable first start.
Yeah.
You obviously take the most obvious and least expensive approach first, and
Right.
after that,
It's like a car almost.
yeah, exactly. I wouldn't force anybody to do
Only
otherwise.
3 lines are getting flow out of 42, think about that, you know? That's-
You got me a little confused, though. So at this point here, you're gonna finish this up, basically put it away till May.
No, we haven't done the D-box fix yet, so we need
They're
to
working
get
on
the
it.
D-box levels first.
Okay.
Then
And you're gonna
open up
do,
the whole
you're gonna
system.
do that now.
Yeah, and we're gonna open the whole system, we're gonna stop pumping regularly.
Right,
We're gonna see what the system does
Okay.
under normal conditions. Get
right,
it to working, get it normal conditions,
right.
and then monitor it for some period of time. And then come back in sometime this
And let us
spring
know,
and let you know how we're making
Okay,
out.
that makes sense.
okay?
Yep.
I entertain a motion? Excuse
don't
me,
need a motion.
anything?
You don't need a motion.
We don't need a motion,
Okay.
this is discussion.
Then,
I just want you to remember.
God
this
bless
so
you,
that-
Merry Christmas, get out of
But
here.
just remember, if a buyer comes in and says, we got this bum system, we're gonna give them a notice.
Hey, take it easy.
Have a good holiday, gentlemen.
Thank you for coming.
Lawyer will.
So you don't have access to the room?
That-
Because I brought the staff a little gift, but I can't, I don't want to leave it out in the hallway, so.
No, you can leave it there.
It'll be okay here.
We'll give it
So,
Leave
to,
it here?
yeah.
Is it ticking?
We just need to make sure
Hey.
Gino doesn't take it, so.
It's not ticking,
You're
right?
welcome to dig into it.
Wait a minute. You open
Gino, your
it.
name's not on it.
Yeah, open it.
No, it's for everybody that works in town.
Okay.
You're welcome to.
All right.
absolutely.
Don't blow us up. We got more customers here.
Okay, Gino, you got a 7:45.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Oh, dear
Marie
Lord.
Washington, hey, how you doing?
Okay, we closed that meeting. The discussion, now we open it now, is 8 o'clock already, mamma mia.
15 minutes behind
Just do
Gino.
this one, Kurt?
What about that,
Thought we
you
did.
what, 8 o'clock we
Oh,
meet?
that's down the other end.
Yep.
Okay, we were up on the hill end.
Okay. I open the meeting 8 o'clock, 4.
We'll put a.
410 Newton Road, am I correct?
No,
No,
3
3
Washington.
Washington.
I'm sorry, 3 Washington. See what happened when I give you my glasses? All right, open up. What do you got for us?
I'm Kirk Patrick.
Washington.
I'm here on behalf of Francis Higgins for his property at 3 Washington Drive.
Yeah?
Are there butters?
Washington.
Shall I come up? or-
Yeah, come on up. Weren't you in a butter on another property?
Yes, I'm in a little fishbowl.
You are.
So basically what I have before you is proposed upgrade to the existing 2-bedroom dwelling. Right now, the system doesn't pass the Title V inspection. It's got a small tank in the backyard and some kind of a leaching system behind the garage. We did some test holes in the side yard here, test holes 1 and 2, where we observed, the first one had top and subsoil of 30 inches and a layer of loamy sand down to 92 inches. We had an observed water table at 66 inches and an estimated season high water table of 24 inches. Test hole 2 is similar, had a more top, fill on top, and the same loamy sand below it.
Peter.
Water table there. And because it was wet, we were not able to run a perk test. We took a soil sample, sent it to the lab, and it came back as a loamy sand. So basically, what we've designed is a replacement system, proposed with 1,500 gallon, 2-compartment septic tank. It's going to be a monolithic H20 tank in the backyard. It's going to flow by gravity to a 1,000 gallon monolithic H20 pump chamber. And that's going to pump the liquid up to a proposed Presby leaching field located in the side yard here that's going to be 42 feet long
Mhm.
by 10 feet wide.
How much-
Of a retaining wall
What's the distance between the
to the wetland.
distance, yeah?
So this is the drainage ditch that runs under Washington Drive, continues on, and it makes its way all the way down to Long Lake.
Okay.
So that's been delineated with a series of flags, and its closest point to the proposed leaching area is going to be 25 feet from the...
So the drainage ditch is a wetland?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
It is, it meets the definition.
I know.
I don't know.
A pet peeve of mine.
We were discussing that before.
So basically with the system, because the water table is so high, it's going to have a proposed retaining wall that wraps around. Basically, it starts in the front at 0, stays level as the land slopes down, and it's close, at its highest point, it's gonna be 2.5 feet high.
Okay.
It turns to existing grade in the back, so it
Okay.
should blend in fairly well. So we're asking for, it's actually a Title V variance,
Mhm.
because we're less than 50 feet to the wetlands, we're
Mhm.
asking for a Title V variance to use the Presby, the 2-foot groundwater offset. What that allows us to do is to blend the system in with the grade at the garage. If it came any higher, we'd have a retaining wall between the system and the garage also.
So Jim's comments on this one, this is 3 Washington, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is very, I'm just kidding. This lot is very small, has high seasonal groundwater, has a high seasonal groundwater table and wetlands all along one side. Any system in the ground is likely in the water table and would be considered in failure. The records of the property indicate previous board approval of the site, 2-bedroom seasonal dwelling, and in 1987 issued a permit for an emergency replacement disposal system. The permit indicated it was for seasonal use only. The assessor's records have the house listed as a 1-bedroom dwelling. Title V does not distinguish sewage disposal systems designed based on seasonal versus year-round. I assume the board's seasonal restriction was in place on the lot due to the site's significant constraints. I believe the board's permit, 1987, and the lack of I think you missed a word. I believe the board's permit, 1987, and the lack of distinguish in Title V mentioned above supports the use of the property as a 2-bedroom dwelling, and the design presented is for a 2-bedroom house. The site restrictions require similar variances no matter the number of bedrooms proposed, and the minimum Presby system size would be the same for a 1- or 2-bedroom dwelling. If the board grants the request, I would recommend the following conditions. The board should clarify the seasonal versus year-round use, and a restriction needs to be placed on the deed limiting the dwelling to a 2-bedroom house. I don't have a problem with the request. The site is served by town water. The new system will be out of the water table, and the Presby system offers some effluent treatment. Is he proposing seasonal or year-round use?
Year-round. We go through the teams right now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's,
How we enforce
Is
that?
there such a thing as seasonal? I don't, I
Title
remember.
V is not recognized.
No, that's
Yeah,
not.
I never,
We put it on a,
Seasonal.
previous board put it on a permit, I think, because somehow it came up.
And Jim is recommending we stick to that?
He's going to look at it. You have any question, young lady?
Which one is this
I do.
again?
I have no problem with them
Yeah.
building, I just want to make sure, my house is directly across
Yeah.
the street from them,
Yeah,
and directly behind 3 Lincoln, which is
yes,
where we had a problem.
Yes.
I'm going to show you pictures of after, because it's, my backyard is
Yeah.
flooded
okay.
now. I just want to know how high this wall is going to be, and how you're going to do the drainage to make sure that your property or this property is slightly higher if you
Than-
look at the road.
than you.
Than mine.
Yeah.
The road kind of goes like this.
Right,
My
right.
property's here, their property's
Right.
slightly higher. So
You worry about the water.
if the water comes onto my property from their side, and my property
Yeah.
from Lincoln.
Yeah, can you satisfy
So
your...
I want to just be assured
Yeah.
that whatever you put there is
Right.
not going to drain anything
Right.
onto my property, which is already underwater.
So the elevation at the existing grade at the corner of the garage here is
Mhm.
elevation 99,
Mhm.
and then it drops down to 98, and then down to 96 basically at the wetland.
Right.
So the grade from the corner of the garage slopes down, and there's
Uh-huh.
actually it's almost a natural swale that runs probably 6 feet inside the edge of the
Okay.
pavement. So this is the edge of the pavement.
Mm-hmm.
So that retaining wall is set back about 10 feet from the edge of the pavement.
Are
So
you
the-
going to have a swale there?
No, the grade won't change at all between the face of the wall and the street. So the water will still shed from the edge of the driveway here, which is probably 98 and a half, down to
Mhm.
98.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun. It actually goes back up a little bit here, it's fairly flat,
Mm-hmm.
and continue down to the wetland. So it's not gonna pond there.
Okay, that's my
And
concern.
It's certainly not gonna
Is that
flow it
what-
across the road.
Okay, because everything else seems to, because the only culvert or drainage thing that's in the area is across the street up here, which is a little higher, right, by my driveway's here and it's right here. So the water from my side of the street hits that, but there's nothing on
Right,
yours, on
right.
this side of the street
Right.
where it comes in, so I'm a
Right.
little concerned
Oh, yeah.
about So it sounds like it's not really gonna be a high retaining wall, because I couldn't really tell from the drawings how
No, so the
high
finished
the wall
grade
was.
over the wall is gonna be 98.5, so it's basically at the ground level here, and the top of the
Mhm.
wall stays flat, where the slope of the land goes down.
Mhm,
So if the
right.
wall stays level, the
Okay.
land will slope down.
So
And your
as
house is
this-
where?
My house is here.
So that'll actually divert water
So-
away from
Yeah.
your house.
Yeah, their property is slightly off-center
Off-
of
yeah.
mine, so I think mine ends here, and if this is
But it's
lower
grading here,
here,
the wall's
it would-
pushing
it
it.
would drain away. from
Yeah.
Correct, you should
that
drain in
area.
front of the,
Okay.
off the street, in front of the wall and down to the
Yeah.
wetlands,
Okay.
as it does now.
Okay, now my other question is, you're putting in a system right now for an existing house. I'm assuming, I knew Fran and I knew Jean, and now both of them have gone. They have a one-bedroom house that needs a lot of work or needs to be torn down and made into a two-bedroom, because that's the only way you're gonna sell it and make any, nobody's gonna buy a one-bedroom. When they do that, which I assume they will, how are they gonna build? Are they gonna build up higher and add more fill to that land, which would then increase the height of this area? Or is there gonna be some restriction on making sure that the dwelling isn't higher than the septic system?
Well, question number,
That would be my
There's
concern
no proposed changes with the house with this.
right now,
this-
right.
right.
But somebody might-
I really, I
One at a
can't
time.
speak for
We
what
can't speak to
somebody-
Yeah.
maybe
I
some
know
of
they're
that
gonna
stuff.
sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they tear it down, it goes through the whole process again. Basically, right now, even though the assessors are, it's listed as a one, the system's for a two-bedroom system, and I think, from what I understand, it's a functional two-bedroom, right?
Yeah, and it'll get a two-bedroom
Putting it
deed
function.
restriction.
yeah, right.
How many bedrooms are in there?
One.
There's
There are
one
two?
bedroom
How many rooms
That's
total?
debatable.
in there. There's
Right.
She says one, you
I've
say
been in
two.
the house. I've
So
been-
it's only the one.
It's one bedroom.
So let's say they tore the house down, right?
Well, yeah, I'm sure
Do
they will.
do they have a basement on it? They have a cellar?
They have like a little crawl
The
area,
crawler.
part of it.
So just being cognizant of time, that's a zoning issue, that may or may not happen, doesn't belong in front of this board at this
It
point.
has to go to front.
So
Planning
I'd
board.
actually like us to cut that discussion off and deal with this.
All right, I just don't want, since I'm here and
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else is up here and everything's draining to me.
So what we can discuss now is what's before us.
Yeah.
We
Okay,
can't
well,
guess, so
It doesn't sound bad at all, it sounds reasonable.
it's
and-
actually better, it's improving
Yeah,
it, so.
doesn't seem like it's
I think
gonna
it should
hurt
blend in with the
me.
property very well.
So-
Yeah.
I
With the
thought you were
2-foot
gonna do
groundwater
like 3
offset.
Yeah, so what Jim's asking for is clarification on the seasonal versus year-round, and I don't think we have a precedent for calling something seasonal, I don't think we have the
Right.
ability to
Those
enforce
are-
it, I don't think it's
they've
been
been there for a
seasonal.
long time.
It used to be a seasonal, they were not.
Well, everything
allowed
around
to
the lake used to be
well, they weren't
seasonal at
allowed to
one
live
point.
there. And when I lived in my house in the beginning, they would only come 6 months out of the year, and then they got a variance, so
Yeah.
that they could live there, and they built a garage
Right.
and they moved in.
And they put a septic
Well, the
system.
variance
in.
wasn't really, so I think it's, I don't know if we need to clarify it, I would say assume it's year-round, and it's a two-bedroom system, assuming year-round usage, so,
It's designed for that.
yeah. And the other thing, Jim, for some reason I don't quite understand, Jim wants a deed restriction specifying two-bedroom.
Where it's designed for less than the flow of 330 gallons per day.
So he says
It requires a
it's gonna require two.
Okay, so-
Bedroom restriction.
So any variance would be stipulated upon a deed restriction for
Right,
two-bedroom.
right.
Okay.
Thank you for
Well,
coming.
Thank you very much, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I do have a question, it's unrelated, and I know.
We need to finish this one, I think, before we go on.
And
So-
then, yeah, and then we have,
Entertain, anything, John?
Nope.
Peter, anything?
No.
I entertain a
It's a
motion.
very small lot, it's under
Yeah.
9,000 square feet, so
Right.
there isn't much you can do.
I entertain a motion?
You've been reading them all night, I guess I can do it. So I'll make a motion to approve the variances for, where's
3 Washington.
3 Washington Street for the plans dated October 18th, 2016. The variance would be, 1, a variance is hereby requested from 310 CMR 15.212A, 15.212-1A, to reduce the requisite groundwater offset from 4 feet to 2 feet with the use of the Presby EnviroSeptic wastewater treatment system, where the proposed leaching area is less than 50 feet to a bordering vegetative wetland. And I will point out that that bordering vegetative wetland is a drainage ditch, which some of us don't really consider a wetland.
Well, if you looked at when they built the other properties here, there was a big dispute about that as being.
Well,
a-
DP does, but I have trouble putting that kind of protection around drainage ditches, but we'll assume it is, so. Approval is sought under 310 CMR 15.4051 I think that's an E.
Yep.
To reduce the requisite offset to a bordering vegetative wetland from 50 to 25 feet. Third, approval is sought under 310 CMI 15.4051L to allow the use of a sieve analysis where a percolation test could not be performed due to the groundwater interference. And finally, a variance is requested from the Littleton Board of Health Regulation 27 to allow fill required to meet the breakout grading requirements within 10 feet of the property line.
I don't have any problem with it, and I don't, would not want to see it go up another foot. But what did Jim say about the 2 foot? I know he's always.
He didn't specify
He didn't
anything
say
about the
anything
2
about
foot,
it?
no,
Okay.
so I think he's assuming it's
Okay,
necessary.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
Can I ask
Oh,
you
yeah,
a
go ahead.
question?
Not related to this,
It's
right?
unrelated to
Yeah.
this, but it relates to my house,
Yes.
which is in the middle. I had sent Shelley some photos of what my backyard looks like, because you had approved the
Yes.
system for 3 Lincoln,
Yeah.
and it hadn't rained yet. So I had sent her photos,
Huh?
because I want you to see what my yard looks like now,
Yeah.
before they put a.
You have the photo?
I do, before they have put 3.5 feet of fill.
You know, we have
My
other
backyard.
we have-
people
I was
waiting on
gonna
the
say,
schedule, so
we are-
I think we need to come back
We
and
are
do this.
20, yeah,
How
we're,
do we do this? I spoke to her, she said that you can do an administrative session beforehand. She
Oh,
was
you
gonna
should have
let
said
you
something,
know.
unless you want to wait till after we did the hearings, because you're obligated.
We can do it at the end, but
Would you want to wait
other
another?
folks are on the schedule, so we don't want to hold
And
them.
this is one more.
So we can either, you can
No,
either
there's
wait
two
till the
more.
end, or we can talk to Shelley about getting it on the agenda for discussion at the next meeting.
Okay.
You only have one more?
we have
Yeah.
2 more,
Two more?
Yeah, but Michael,
and we're 20 minutes behind. So,
sorry.
Gino, you're the boss here. man. What do you
Be
wanna do?
comfortable.
Okay, I'll get comfortable.
Okay, go ahead. I'll open the meeting of,
Oh, you in the next one too, huh?
what is it, 34
That's great.
hearing?
Just one quick, what are you folks in for?
We had a permit that expired, was extended once, and so now we have to apply for a new permit, it was sent down by.
Yeah,
the
we
Board of Health.
signed it tonight,
Oh, you already signed it?
yeah.
You pick it up tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that.
You should have mentioned right away.
We didn't want to.
Okay, I'm so sorry. You-
Sign it at the very beginning?
You're
I-
46, Dagon?
I still have to sign it, but
Hold on, Gino.
It says 48, Nagar, not 46,
48?
48.
Okay. And also they have to send a check.
46.
too.
Peter, do you know what color we give them?
What color?
Yeah.
I
Just
don't
so
know,
have
did
to
they
come-
pay and everything? Did you guys
Did you pay and,
You know what?
Did you pay? Did you send a check? Oh, you have,
Yeah,
And do you do the
they
butters
put the
notice and all
Board
that
of
stuff?
Health. We sent,
You did?
Get a check to them, yeah. And then they said it was.
if it's there, we'll give it to you. If you send
You might
a,
want to check with
Check.
Shelley.
Shelley will have it ready for you tomorrow, she's got a check.
because I-
Sorry, I wish I'd known we could have
Yeah.
let you go home earlier, I apologize.
Thank you.
well, I hope we entertain you a little bit, okay?
But it's in here and we signed it, so,
It does say 48.
it says 46.
No, it's 48.
Well, then you have
Shelley
to,
can do an administrative fix to that, I'm sure.
yeah, she will take care of it, okay?
Right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Good night.
I wonder why they mistake 46 and 48. All right,
It's the government.
go ahead.
So again, Preston back to the resolution, and I'm here on behalf of the Douglas Allen Gore Estate.
Okay.
Property at 34 Star Hill Road. Basically, before you is a proposed upgrade for the existing 5-bedroom dwelling. Right now, nobody knows exactly where the system is. I think it's somewhere over in this area here.
Which house is this on Star Hill?
Um,
The really big one?
Yeah, the yellow one.
Okay.
You drive by Skin
Yeah.
House, and then you drive by a little garage.
Got it.
Which is this, come around the corner, the road keeps on going down here.
All right, I know that house, it's right on the edge of the hill.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Steep hill.
Yeah.
So, we did some soil testing, there's actually one little plateau halfway down the hill. It's not flat, but it's less steep than the rest of it. So we did 2 test holes down there, that can feel pretty decent, to top and subsoil to 20 to 32 inches, and the sandy loam, down to 102 and 108 inches, ran a perk test, ran at 19 minutes an inch. So we're proposing a new system, proposed 2,000-gallon 2-compartment septic tank, and a Presley leaching field. It's 11 feet wide by 62 feet long. Try to take advantage of the property and that length of that plateau.
You need gravity on your side, that's for sure.
Yeah, we do. We'll never back up. We're asking for approval from the board to use a 2-foot groundwater offset of a 4. Just because it is so steep, with a 4-foot offset, it would have a fall in and almost like a retaining wall.
Doesn't that make, if you just go 2 feet a second and make the chances of breaking out
Just the property right here.
on that type of slope?
Well, no, it'll still have some,
Whereas 4 feet, you'd have a lot more. Or would it be worse for the 4 feet?
Way worse before, wasn't it?
That's the
well,
one.
it's gonna meet the same requirements, to be honest with you. It's still gonna meet the same requirements for breakout. The 2 allows for a lot less fill. If you elevated another 2 feet, you wouldn't catch this slope going down the hill. So you'd have to use some
Yeah,
kind of a line.
it would probably look like.
Where's the wetland? There's a wetland down there, isn't there, at the bottom of that hill? Maybe not that far down, farther down.
Yeah. This actually keeps going, and then there's a stone wall at the bottom. Must be on the other side of the wall.
Yeah,
Which is
there's, way at the bottom there's one, but,
Okay.
I mean, that's forestry foundation land, there's nothing over there.
Oh, right here.
Long lake somewhere,
Look
there's lap.
at it.
So where's the present system on this thing? Is that down the same area? or-
No, they think it's either in this little plateau here or off to the side here. The pipe, this is where it comes out now, comes out to the side. They don't really, there's nothing on record, they don't know what's out there.
Wow. This
It's
is
a
what?
strange neighborhood.
That's an old house too. right?
How many
Actually,
bedroom?
not that old.
I know, some of them up there are newer,
Are they really?
Yeah. like 70s, 60s kind of
I
thing.
can't believe it. See, it goes all the way around here to Litchfield?
That's what he proposed.
Oh, my gosh.
Have you been up there, Gina?
No.
It's
I
a
should go look.
California kind of neighborhood, it's like on a hillside.
So the
I
grade
should.
behind the house is elevation 100.
Wow.
There's a little plateau down near elevation 80.
Wow.
and then it
Did
keeps
you
going
see
up
it?
there.
Did you?
I've been up there,
How
yeah,
come
it's
you
up by
didn't,
me.
check, do some test holes and everything in this area?
Just because it's too steep.
Oh.
There's one
Oh,
little
that's what
section
you
here
wanted to
where
get
the
something more
contours
kind
flat
of
out.
flat off,
Correct.
okay.
If you tried to cite a system on that, it would just, it wouldn't work.
What's it, 5-bedroom?
Yeah,
Wow.
big house.
So what are you looking for?
We're looking for approval for the use of a 2-foot groundwater offset instead of a 4-foot.
What did Jim say? That's his
Oh, which one are we on? Star Hill, right?
peeve.
All right, sorry.
It's only one? Only one?
The
you-
applicant is looking to replace the system for this house. The lot is large, but the slope significant and has an elevated seasonal high water table. Really? Up there? The applicant's design has located the system in an area with a gentler slope and is requesting a 2-foot groundwater reduction for the leaching area. I believe that granting the 2-foot reduction should be limited as Title V is considered minimum code. I can appreciate the breakout grading that will be necessary, the use of a 4-foot groundwater offset in the existing slope, but I believe a 3-foot offset could be used with minimal effect on the fill needed. I would not have a problem with a 3-foot offset as the lot is large, the house is served by town water, and there are no other sensitive receptors nearby.
All right. So what do you
Problem
think,
with 3
Peter?
versus 2.
Have you got any question, Peter?
If you go with the 3, I think you're going to end up with a polyliner to try to limit the fill coming down the hill.
I'm sorry, what?
You'll end up with putting an additional polyliner to try to limit the fill going down the hill. I mean, just
Yeah, that's-
isn't that I'd rather not.
I've been
polyliner.
there, that's steep, and there's runoff coming off there, and
I mean, our goal is to make it fit the wind as best as possible, and the code does allow for the 2-foot offset. And it's specifically written.
Yeah,
on Presby-
it's been kind of an ongoing
I know.
bouncing ball here between us and Jim. We've been doing a lot.
So what's Jim's real concern? Why is he bugabooed about this?
Well, extra
That
foot,
wasn't clear.
extra foot gives you extra, a little extra. I think that's what he gets concerned about.
you know, if this were above, I don't, there's nothing over there either. I mean, this is there's
All
over
empty.
100 acres over here, you
Wow.
know, and nobody living there, except the next one's Wilderness House on the next hillside, and that's certainly not gonna go up there.
Wow.
So, there's a wetland somewhere down here, but,
It's serviced by town water. This is the offset from the seasonal high water table.
I mean, I'd be worried you build it up too high and you're gonna have washout, I'd be afraid of.
I think the less we disturb of that slope, the better.
Yeah, I agree. It's really steep. Since I've been here, we've never seen a system that deals with this kind of.
I never seen a
Jim's
system.
kind of funny. He's, we've done maybe 4, and he hasn't mentioned anything from going 2 to 3 or
Right.
2 to 4. Or,
No, he does.
Then you get 1 or 2, and
He's more conservative when it comes to this,
Yeah.
for sure, but, you know,
You got any?
That's the only one, that's the only variance you're looking for?
I mean, it's off in the middle of the woods, and nobody cares about the elevation, but.
Huh?
Just approval.
It's approval.
Okay.
Anything, John?
No, I'm just looking at the
What?
area around
I'm
it.
on the wrong.
Nothing there.
Yeah, there's-
It's right here.
We've been up there. You know the road you go up to when you go to
Peter,
work?
give it back
Have
to
the
me
Cub
later,
Scouts
okay?
up there?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
that big steep hill on the right.
okay.
Don't get upset. The life is
Okay,
short.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the variances as requested.
It's not a variance,
Yes,
It's approval.
it's approval.
Well,
This one's easier.
it's on the variances, I can't read the approval here, so.
Give him
For
that.
34 Star,
It's easy to read on.
there we go. Okay. For 34 Star Hill Road, as shown on the blueprint of 12/2/16. And the variances, or I should say, the
Yeah, we
approval
got two pen the same.
is for offset from 4 feet to 2 feet with the use of the Presby Enviroseptic leaching system.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What are you for,
7 Balsam Lane.
okay. Okay, 7 Boston.
Have a good holiday.
You too? Thanks.
You have a good day.
How's business? Still busy?
It's slowing down. It's that time of year.
Yeah.
Good.
Have a good one. Say hello to Kevin.
I will.
Take it easy.
We should be getting ready for maple syruping.
7.
Good evening, Brian Goodrow with Hancock Associates, representing
You got Yancy
Farm
Reader?
Builders.
I'll give you one.
We're here
You
before
got
you
it?
tonight for 7 Blossom Lane.
Yeah.
For a variance request of utilizing a 40-minute park on a lot that's less than 30,000 square feet.
Okay,
We've done quite a bit of testing. We dug 9 pits across the site. We had one 31-minute park and one 40-minute park, and then we had a 16 and a 22.
Where's your location? I don't know where
Yeah.
Balsam Road is.
That's right, it's not,
Yeah, so
it's not on
Foster
the
Street's
thing
right
yet.
up here.
Yeah.
Grimes Road is down here, and Balsam Street's right here. This is the first lot you see as you drive into the new subdivision.
Okay, this
So
is
up-
Turkey's.
Yeah, Turkey Farm
Okay.
Estate, so right up on the hill on the right-hand side, this is the first house as you enter the subdivision.
Actually, if you go on the MapQuest,
Yeah.
or Google Maps, it won't pick up a Balsam Lane in Littleton.
It's a new road. It's only been in a few months.
Yeah.
We received approvals in June from the planning board, and since June, we've constructed 2 spec houses. The third one is under construction right now. We're looking to break ground on this one as well as 3
You
others.
guys are moving fast.
Moving extremely fast.
Big sign out that says contractors wanted, so I
Yeah.
assume that's the plan, right?
Yeah, so all of Boston is paved, Fraser's paved. and
what do you got,
everything-
30,000 square feet there?
That's shy of 30,000
Wow.
square feet. The lots range typically 24 to
Wow.
32 or so. This lot's 26, I want to say, right around there, and it's bounded by open space on this side and this side. And
Wow.
there's another side
No neighbors, no,
on the right.
no neighbors.
How come they kept them so small, 30,000, and not go with the normal 40?
It's
Cluster
a-
development.
Yeah, it's an open space development. So in lieu of conventional
Okay.
zoning, the town received 20 acres of open space.
It was cluster
Because
development,
that,
basically.
when we passed those perk rates and stuff, you know, we're thinking more of things like Long Lake, you know, on the 30,000 square feet, we still kept it, I think 30,000 square feet. We kept it at perk rate of 30. Whereas the bigger ones, you could go up to 40, the state says 60. But we never thought about these things when you're doing an open space type of thing, and
Yeah.
you're
And that's the trend statewide, is
Yeah,
everybody's
you force
doing
it-
cluster and natural resource
and you
protection
force
zoning.
them into
To reduce,
Smaller
a
area.
higher rate,
yeah.
I should say. So what happened here?
We dug all over the lot. We dug the front, we dug the side, we dug the rear. We found that with site topography, the way that it is, the best spot for the system is gonna be in the back, and that happened to be where the 40-minute perk was. So that's how we developed this lot.
And these lots were fairly well negotiated with the zoning and the planning board, and
Correct.
Keith and everybody else was out there beforehand, trying to figure out where they're gonna have trails and, you know, how many house lots and all that stuff, so.
No, it's just a curious development, but, I mean, not the development, just
That,
the idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
competing demands, yeah.
you got any question?
So is that the other one, yeah? Let me see,
It's exclusive to the 4-unit, but
just the bar, isn't it?
Do you expect this on the other lots, or it's just this one?
Yeah, I'll be
So
there.
we've designed 14 lots, 13 lots to date. The board has seen all 13 of them. This is the only one that we're requesting a variance on. Everything else is conforming.
With no problem.
You
We
built up
have-
the elevation on all of this, didn't you?
Correct, so the entire design of the subdivision was to pick the roads up over existing grade, put the systems in the front yards,
Yeah, yeah.
infill to maintain offsets to groundwater, make breakout grading work. This is just a really unique lot because we have a wetland crossing, and it's kind of going up the first big hill.
When is gonna be
Peter, I
the-
think you may have been on a hiatus, but when they proposing to build up the lots, they came to us on all this stuff ahead of time too, and
20,
we were pretty kosher with it, so.
When those houses be
2016.
done?
When are the houses going to be done?
Yeah.
So the
In
two
the
spec
spring?
houses right now are, they're up, they're sided, they're putting in plumbing and electric right now. Electric, I believe, has already been powered up throughout the subdivision.
Okay,
They want a 4-footing on these 4 lots, assuming the board
Okay.
releases the plans on them. So the buyer's already on lots 8, which is this lot.
Beautiful.
Lot 12,
Wow.
lot 6,
wow.
lot 9.
Where they go for?
7 to 8, I think they're starting at.
Walk to the train station.
Yeah.
Wait a
To
minute.
the train station.
You can afford that kind of-
Actually, where do you show what
The
you're
big
asking for?
Oh
on
my
this?
gosh.
For the
Are
variance.
you gonna sell your house and buy one of those 750K?
We submitted a letter of request,
But you really gotta have something on your drawing, because this is what we refer back to and stuff.
for the local bylaw. I mean, we
Yeah.
can certainly revise the plan to include that note. We did issue a request letter prior to the meeting that continued, for the variance.
You wanna make it contingent, Peter?
Yeah. But, you know, what happens really, reality, that somebody will say, oh gee, look what's happened on such and such house. Well, we didn't have that on the other lot, and you go in and you're seeing what you're doing. You know, maybe it'll be in the file,
Yeah, so it's clearly indicating where our first.
but you should, everybody
just
puts
burn
down
it up on the
you know,
sign.
what they're looking
Please.
for. So,
We can certainly get
Okay.
that.
You got any problem, Peter?
Huh?
You got any problem?
No,
All
I got,
Jim doesn't have a problem.
Okay, you want
It's a
to
short story.
entertain the motion?
yeah, I guess.
Okay, go ahead.
You get the plans in front of you, or I can do it either way.
And where was your letter? Let me see the letter that's got that involved. Okay.
Did you
I
sign
make a
these here?
motion that we,
Did you sign it?
accept the variance
Oh, that's right, we only
requested
4 people.
for 7 Balsam Lane, part of the Durkey Farm
I wonder what
subdivision.
happened to the young lady, is she all right?
It's lot 8, and it was for percolation rate on a lot 30,000 square feet or less greater than 30 inches, and this one is 40. And that's contingent on the fact that it gets to be put on the drawing. We have a drawing right now with a date of 12/6/16. There'll be an addendum to this, contingent, like I said, contingent on acceptance. Contingent on the reissue of the drawing showing the actual variance.
You get the gist of it, I'll second it.
You second it?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much, young lady, come.
Have a good holiday.
Come.
Here's the thing I had spoken,
He's gone.
I had spoken with Shelley last week or 2 weeks ago regarding,
Now, do you have the big trees? Is that the one that has?
I do have the tree.
Oh, you the lady with the big tree?
was a tree issue, the other neighbor wanted to move a house back from the front road, which meant it was closer to her road. They ended up tying the drainage system.
My backyard.
Right, so away from their road, closer to her backyard. It was a drainage system that was, didn't have an easement, so they ended up putting it into the town system rather than when it was, yep.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's
No.
what Ted did?
Yep. Yes, it is.
They didn't, that's right, I'm sorry, they want to do that.
They wanted to use yours, you said no, so they tied into the state's, the town system.
And they're gonna be allowed to do that?
Yep.
So what's happened is, if you never saw
All the water that comes through, right?
all the water that comes through on my property now. They also never got a hold of me, had asked us to try and work this out.
Do you know
We
that?
tried to contact them, they refused to have
You don't?
contact.
who's they? Would you say
The Morrises.
So the owner basically, I mean, but Ted had contact with you.
Ted had contact with us, we said we wanted to sit down and speak with them. Ted, the only person we had to talk to was Ted. He said they will talk with us, but they want to go through him. So we never found out what happened. And because of that, I didn't know what they were going to do, when they were planning on doing any of this. So I had a civil engineer look at the property. I still don't have a real clear idea of where the property lines are. I ended up moving my fence because I didn't know what their time frame was gonna be. I didn't want them to rip out my fence and me have my backyard exposed for 6 months.
So there's a property line dispute where essentially
But
the,
it's still a question, yes, but regardless of that, I'll go on that. Regardless of all of that, my concern had been the water. This has taken 24 hours after, remember that big rain we had a couple of weeks ago? 24 hours after the rain stopped.
so have they done the work yet?
They haven't done anything yet.
Wow.
She finally contacted me.
Who's she?
Donna Morris. Because I'm not really clear what she wanted. She wants to make this right, but by then I had already moved the fence, I had done all kinds of things, I had spent over $8,000 on this.
Wow.
And this is what my property looks like.
Oh my-
24 hours.
Wait a minute, this all water?
after- This is the water on my property now. They plan on putting a 3.5-foot wall right behind that fence.
Oh, look at
I
that.
just moved my fence. There's more. It goes the length of my property. You guys approved them to build a property 3.5 feet higher than that property is than that land is right now on the other side of this fence. In fact, my neighbor called me and said, do you see the pond in our yards?
But it also had a drainage system
It's
within,
not-
on the other side of that
Yeah.
wall. It wasn't just that they were building a wall.
The drainage system is still there, and this is what it
Right, but they
looks
wonna be
like.
using that drainage system.
They're
It's
going
actually gonna be
into the town
diverted into the
water.
town drainage system.
Works, and this is what it looks like.
Apparently it doesn't work.
It does work. I had it checked.
Well,
I
if
had
it's
it-
working, then why do you have so much water in your backyard?
There's a question for you.
So if I remember this case correctly, they're putting a wall behind you, but all the water on their property is, or at least equivalent to what they do now, is being diverted into a different drainage system, which will take it away from your property.
Theoretically, if this was a solid wall down below grade level, and this water was on both sides, and you had now blocked it all off, where do you think all this water would be?
Well, that would depend whether they put for a drainage system on the other side of that wall.
They're not gonna do that.
Yes, they are. They're tied into the town drainage system, which leads up
The gutters
leads
and
out to their
everything
front
going
of the, and away from your property.
That's what they say,
Face the
that's what
house.
they're saying.
It's gotta be on the right of the house, coming.
Theoretically, yes, but what?
It's not theoretically, they're tying into a pipe that leads away from your property. That's not theory, that's,
I would like to see that plan, because I've
It-
never seen.
it was at the last meeting.
No, he said he was going to, that was something he was gonna do, but that was not the plans at the last meeting.
That was the plan as I understood him at the last
I
meeting.
understood it too.
No, there was no actual plan, physical drawing.
Yeah, it's right on, I think it was right on the
There was a plan
drawing.
that showed using the drain.
No,
on the
because
other
they had
side.
already said you wouldn't, you already told them you wouldn't allow them to use the drain on your property, so we approved it with a drain going into the town, and
He hadn't shown you those plans yet.
I recall seeing them.
I would really then appreciate,
What's
especially seeing
what's the property?
3
Lincoln.
Lincoln
3
Drive,
Lincoln.
and this is 4 Washington.
Well, my suggestion is to stop in with Shelley and give her a call ahead of time, and you can look at the plans, they're public record.
Yeah, just see you tomorrow.
But let me understand something. You're getting that water now, but no one's done anything, right? So you normally got this,
This
So,
is what I get now.
so the concern, she's worried that when they put
Okay.
they raise the elevation of
Add
the
more to
property
it.
on back, that it's gonna run off to
Yeah, but
hers.
that's what the whole-
But they're putting but there's
You
a
know
town
what?
drain that they're tying into, so it should take more water away from the property, is my understanding.
But it's
of
not
what they
there
agreed
yet.
to.
It's not there yet.
The water runs, the property.
Can I be honest? I think the real issue is you don't want their property farther back towards yours.
No. Their property?
They're building, because they're moving the building back closer to
They're
yours.
not moving the building.
she's
No, I'm sorry, they're moving it closer. Yeah, they're moving it closer to their road. That was the whole issue. They're opening up the backyard, and they wanted to have a level backyard.
They're keeping the property, the building itself is staying or moving closer or whatever.
It's moving closer to their frontage,
Right.
which leaves a larger open backyard.
Yeah, I'm fine with them having an open backyard. I'm not fine with them having a dam.
Except the open backyard, if it's gonna be level, requires that wall, and we were concerned about the drainage too. But again, I would make an appointment with Shelley to come in and see it. But
Yeah.
as I recall approving this, there was a town drainage system, and
pipe.
If I remember.
Jim was in here, and basically, or we spoke to Jim, the town,
Wasn't in.
But he'd have to
oh, well, we
get,
see him when you
did
don't.
he get permission from Jimmy Clyde? to-
Yeah, Jimmy Clyde gave permission, is my
okay.
understanding. Jim suggested it, actually.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Clay said
So
yes.
there's no issue, it solves their problem and yours, I see no reason why they're not gonna do that. But, so my suggestion is make an appointment with Shelley, take a look at the plans, if it's not there, we can discuss it, but we approved it, I believe, with the I did certainly with the understanding that they were gonna tie much of that drainage into that, which would benefit that situation, even with the retaining wall. And I know it's not theoretical, it's physics. There's nothing theoretical about gravity.
We
Have
hope,
you ever had anybody from the town come down and look at there's gotta be a pipe, drainage pipe or something under the road there? Is there,
There's one going through the
My
yards.
front yard. There's one in the front.
but there's
on
like
the
a
road.
drainage ditch that goes through down there. Is that the drainage ditch? Or is that just your
That's
backyard?
my backyard.
Oh.
But isn't there a pipe that they tied into
There's
and
a
you?
pipe on my neighbor's property, I don't know if I have a picture of that, yeah, here. This is my backyard, and that's the neighbor, the Mays, they have a drain, they have a pipe that they put in that goes to the, whatever you call it.
The
drainage.
ditch.
The drainage.
The ditch. And the drain itself is on the Morris property, but the pipe belongs to the Mays.
okay.
And so, and it does work, because when I had the fence put in, I had the guy check it and clean it and make sure that it
The
was
water.
working and where it ended up, so that,
Yeah.
because we're going to move it onto my property from their property, so
Right.
that I have some.
Control.
And it already works.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is with the drain, this is still what it looks like. So I have concerns that.
Yeah, I'm sure you
And I
are.
know that the.
So
the
if you
property-
see that they're tying into that drain that leads into the front of their property, will that alleviate your concerns?
What will alleviate my concerns is once it's built and I don't get any more water than I
Okay,
already.
so what we have to work with is plans and engineers, and my understanding is the plan brought forward by the engineer to alleviate this shows that property, yes, being elevated in the back, but that drainage being diverted into a pipe that runs away from your property. So we can't look forward in time and give you a snapshot. The best we can do is plans
It
and.
should be better because you're probably getting runoff from that property now, the roof drains.
Well,
Right.
it's
And
a
everything.
dish,
Yeah.
so
So
the
now,
dish is on their property and my property. So my concern is when you dam up half of that dish,
well, the only concern is when that dammed up half, which way that slopes and where the water on that half goes. Your concern is that it's gonna go into your property,
Right.
which is legitimate, but they've showed us plans that says they're gonna tie it into a pipe that goes in the opposite direction from that. So if anything, it should half the drainage that goes into that
so what,
ditch.
well, I need to see that. So you're saying they're gonna put a pipe somewhere on the other side of this?
There's
and
already a
drain it
pipe on the
into-
other side that the town uses. So instead of that water draining back towards your property as it does now,
It's gonna go to
it's
the
gonna go
town.
into a pipe that goes to the front of their property.
They're gonna put that pipe in?
My understanding is it already exists somewhere.
Not, I
You've
don't.
corrected me several times, I'm wrong, but you need to look at the plans, because that's my understanding. I think it's Peter's, I think it's Gino's and John's. So my suggestion is set an appointment with Shelley, come in and look at the plans if you need to.
And she will tell you exactly.
If
you
you're in
can't
trouble, you
understand.
can request that Ted or somebody come in and go over it with you.
Yeah.
you know, but I think we're all operating under an understanding that you don't have, so.
Well, the other thing that's issue there is, I thought that all these places were surveyed. You know, generally, when they do a plan, they usually submit the surveying thing.
And
You-
there's
you-
an issue with the survey.
So the survey showed essentially that their backyard, there was an issue with adverse possession, and basically the survey line showed differently than it had been used for, 20-some-odd years.
Oh, okay.
So adverse possession will dictate that whatever it's been used at for more than 7 years is a new default property line.
And
And I
then-
think theirs originally went into what had been functionally your backyard.
That's right. The other
But
issue.
she has the
that
right
I-
on that one, that's not our call,
Right.
but because of adverse possession, she had been using that property for more than 7 years, it by default becomes hers. I don't know how that comes into play when there are drainage issues
Is it
necessary to the
7
maintenance
or
of that property.
14? I thought it was
7.
It's actually,
7.
when I read the law, it was 20.
No, it's 7.
Now it's, what's 20?
No, adverse possession is 7.
Okay, I guess I'm reading the wrong website.
Well, I deal with that every day.
Fine, I've been in the house over 20 years.
So that's what I'm saying, it's
Yeah.
clear that you have adverse possession, but that's not our decision, that's land courts.
The other piece of it is that my neighbor then said, why did you put your fence so far in? I said, because that's my property line according to the new, what their surveyor had said. He says, no, it's not. Here's your marker. And he showed me a marker on his property that corresponded to the back of his property, which his marker was here. The Summit survey for the Morris property was up here, which meant that either his property went like this.
That's not our issue.
I know.
So we don't really need to hear it.
Somebody was asking me about the property dispute. There's a number of disputes.
And we can't resolve all of them. And
No, I
we
just-
believe we resolved the drainage
You just
issue
don't
when they
want
were
no
gonna
water
tie
in your
it.
yard.
That's why,
Water.
that's why
Right.
we usually demand that we see a surveying for when they do stuff like this. And usually they go back to previous surveying.
Well, what happened is they came up with a survey.
Yeah.
There was a dispute over that, but in the end, it didn't really affect anything we were looking at.
Okay.
And on the drainage issue, my recollection is they were tying into a different drain
Yeah,
that led
there
away
was
from
a-
the property.
I-
So please, make an appointment with Shelley and
Thank you for your concern, Annie, okay? I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, we got anything else?
Nothing else.
We done?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you for coming.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Flip the switch.
does Massachusetts not have a thing,
I close, let me close this.
state surveys?